Hello, my name is Paul Cefalù, and this is a video of a game I created using Unity 3D for my Emerging Technologies in Mobile Gaming class. I chose to use the 2D shooter tutorial from Unity, and so I created it from scratch, and I added the concept of large and small asteroids. I also added a home screen, which you're looking at right now, and I added multiplayer mode to the game. There are sounds of explosions and music and so forth. So first we're going to play the game in single player mode, just to show you what it could do. And then we're going to go into Unity 3D and we're going to show you how the components were built to do the things that you saw in the game. Alright, so let's get started and let's go play the video game. Notice it says ready before it changes to the main screen. It's just changed to the main screen. The player's ship shows up at the bottom. And now come the asteroids. Notice the small ones are traveling faster than the large ones. And you hear the explosions. Right. I can also fire the laser, and that destroys the asteroids. For every asteroid I destroy, I get 10 points. And for every asteroid I let go by, I lose 20 points. So it's in your best interest to hit the asteroids and not let them go by. Okay, notice that the ship banks. As I move to the right, it banks right. As I move to the left, it banks left. There's a firing mechanism. See the thrusters? Notice the small asteroids are being destroyed when they hit the large asteroids. Okay? And when the ship makes contact with an asteroid, the ship is destroyed and the game is over. And then it returns to the home screen. Okay? So, let's look at this again. Okay, notice in the lower right-hand corner you'll see 4 buttons. Those buttons control the up, down, left, and right when you're using a touchpad. So, right now I'm touching the buttons with the mouse. You can't see that, but what's happening is the ship is moving up, moving down, moving left, moving right. And then there's the fire button, which shoots so forth. Okay? And then it returns back to the home screen. And that's the game. Alright, so let's talk about how the game was created. Alright, let's go to Unity 3D. And right now we're looking at the home screen in game mode. And this is what the home screen looks like in scene mode. So as we rotate the views, you can see where things are in space. All right. So let's talk about the components that are here. You notice on the main screen when the asteroid's coming down, when they left the screen, you didn't see them anymore, but they had to be destroyed because they're just using up resources. So since it's out of sight, it's going to have to be out of mind, and they need to be destroyed. So to do that, we're using a box collider, which I named Boundary. Now, let's see if we can get you a little better angle. Okay. Now the box collider is positioned such that it's beyond the game. It's beyond the game area, or it's beyond the view area. Now the asteroids start out inside the collider, and when they get to the wall of the collider and try to exit the collider, an event is triggered called on trigger of exit, and in that code the asteroids are destroyed. So that's performed by this home screen cleanup script that's attached to the boundary. So let's look at that script. All right, there's some starter code, and then you'll see the destroy object on trigger exit. The object is destroyed. Right? Now we have the next thing we have is buttons. So we'll look at the single player button, and what you're looking at is that's the game object representation of the button. But the button is a GUI texture, and it has a button bitmap associated with it. And there is a single player button script attached to the button. So let's go look at the script. Single player button script. There's some initialization code on start method. Right here I'm using a on mouse up event, and I'm looking at the on touch ended event. I could have been looking at the on mouse down. I could have been looking at on touch begin. All I need to do is launch this method, so I could have used either one. Also, you notice that the class single player button is not deriving from mono behavior. It's deriving from this base class that I created called C button touch logic. So let's go see that base class. All right. In this base class, the base class is deriving from photon.mono behavior. And what it does is that the first time this base class runs, you'll notice that I'm using a while loop, and I'm on a thread on a start coroutine, is Unity's way of doing threads. And I'm checking to see if these objects are available, and then I wait 1 second and I try again, and I continue to do this. The reason for this is that while the home screen is being loaded, I need these objects. But until the home screen is completely loaded and it's launched the script, these objects do not exist. So I have to continually keep on trying until I have them. So as soon as the player script is created, and as soon as the game object, game controller script is created, then once I know they're both not null, I set the done to true, and now it falls through the loop, and it doesn't ask for it anymore. Now the update method is something that's performed on every frame, and you'll notice that this has a for loop, and I'm walking through a collection of touch count. I'm walking through a collection of touches. This is because when you're dealing with the mouse, you can only touch it in one. You can only touch the mouse in one place. But with a touch screen, you can touch many different parts of the screen at the same time. So you have to have a way to represent where those touches are. And Unity creates a collection of all the places you touched. So now I have to walk through the collection and process each touch accordingly. And that's what this loop is doing. All right. So that handles a single button click. Now, we said that it executed this routine called single player. So we'll go to the single player routine. You'll see that I'm checking to see if the buttons have been disabled. In this case, they're not because I was able to press it. Here's where the text gets set to ready. There's this method called game over. And then I call the method set disable buttons. And I set that to true. Now this game over thing is a little misleading. But what I've done is I've taken some of the code from the main playing game controller, and I used it to generate the asteroids that you see coming down. See these asteroids right here? They're coming down. So that code is here in spawn waves, and this is in a infinite loop. So when I set the game over flag to true, it falls through here, executes the command load level, and it's loading the main scene level. Then it breaks out of it, and the infinite loop, it exits. Now at this point, I'm in a wait state, and I'm waiting for the load level to be loaded. Now you'll notice that what I've done is that the home screen is normally assigned as ID 0. The main screen is assigned as ID 1. And to make it a little bit more readable, I defined them as constants. And that's why you see a home scene screen constant is equal to 0, main scene screen constant is equal to 1. So now it's more readable when when anybody looks at it, as they can at least read it. Now, you'll notice that I set those values equal to this thing called player preferences. The player preferences are a way to persist information between levels. And essentially it's a dictionary. There's a tag, and then there's a value. Now, when you move to the next level, the current level, all the information, variables stored, everything are destroyed. So that information won't be available to you in the next scene. So the only way you could do that is by using the player preferences that persists across different levels, and it's also it's global to the entire game, client, or project. So another use for this is you can store highest score. What level were you at last? And you want to continue at this level or start over again or start at the next level. And that can be done because there's a method called save, which takes this dictionary and saves it to a file. And then that file is opened at the beginning of the instantiation of the project or the game, and then the information can be used. All right. Okay, so let's get back to our screen. So we talked about the button execution. There is the credits are essentially text. You can see them easily down here. These are GUI texts, and that's what the class text, date, and name, and so forth. All right. The home controller script we just looked at. That's where the audio is connected and the player scripts are loaded and everything is there on that. All right. So we'll go to scene view. We'll look at the camera. You notice that the camera is looking down on everything, and we're in a orthographic view with the camera. Because it's 2D, this is fine for us. And off to in the lower right hand corner, you see what the camera sees, and that's what it looks like when we look at it. Okay. So let's see. We looks like that covers everything in the home screen. And now we'll move on to the main screen, and we'll see what else, how the rest of the game is made.